Hey, welcome to Flite Test. I'm Josh.
And I'm Eric.
And ever since Flite Test has been around, we've always wanted to get people in the hobby. And we started that off with our original 3-pack, our FT Flyer, our Nutball, and our Delta.
Which was super popular.
Yeah, it worked
for
out
a long time.
Really good. And the whole goal was to teach you how to go from 2-channel to managing throttle, ultimately to banking techniques, so you could go on to that 4-channel experience. But we learned a lot over the years.
Yeah.
And we wanted to take a new take at that and also take some feedback that we've been given. So we came up with the Tiny Trainer. One of the best things about this hobby is whether you're flying with old friends like you and I or new people like Andy, flying together is a lot of fun.
Yeah, we got to meet up with the Get FPV guys and Sharpoo and all those guys down in Florida, and we got to take these things out in the wind, and Sharpoo got to fly with us, and I think Alex was even flying around, and like they were chasing us around with quads, and so they got some pretty cool footage as well. So it was just a really good time to get to fly, with some new people, and we flew, these new airplanes. I think that was actually one of the first times I've actually flown this.
Yeah, it was windy, and it was really a good opportunity. We actually had 2 trainer setups, and then you were flying the 3-cell setup with the ailerons.
Yeah, 4-channel, and it was only just dihedral instead of having polys on it, and it was actually kind of a rocket. It flew really awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the neat thing is when you can change your battery sizes from 2-cell to 3-cell, you get different experiences. So you can learn how to fly a 2-channel glider, and then move up to 3-channel with a softer amount of power, and then you can move up again to 3-cell and have a little bit more power, but still that control feel.
Yeah.
And then you can start the whole process over again with the more advanced sport wing and learn 4-channel banking techniques. And the whole goal was to be able to step you through, rather than having to build 3 different airframes, you actually can just build multiples and interchange the parts from a glider to a motor mount to a sport wing and have the whole experience all within one
all
airframe.
the way up to 4-channel flying inverted. It gives you so much latitude, and it's built all into one model. So
well, and a big thank you to Dave Knopp. Dave, I know I'm talking about you while you're filming it, but this original concept actually came from a trip when we were heading back from Joe Knoll, and we were teaching a lot of people about building planes. We had our build nights. He made a comment that if we could have one design that had every single technique that we use, so if you could build that, you could build any of our designs. So it had A-fold, B-fold, fold-over wings, how to do bevel cuts, that would be a really cool idea to teach somebody, because once they fulfilled that and once they built that, they'd be able to build any of our planes. And the original concept that we had with the swappables was every new plane taught you a new flying technique and a new building technique.
Sure.
Well, might as well combine it all to one, where one airframe can teach you every building technique, but then also you can graduate through every flying technique. So when you're done, you can go right onto a 4-channel, and however comfortable you are, you can go as advanced as you want.
And then you're successful with every single plane in the store. If you choose to get something else from us down the road, as your building skills and your flying skills increase, you just have a lot more options that way.
One of our biggest goals with the Tiny Trainer was to give you success in the hobby, whether it's building or flying. And we put this through a lot of testing. And while we were on our southern road trip during that bad winter, we got to go down south, meet up with Crafty Dan, and play past the transmitter at his favorite flying field. Before?
I started November, the middle of November.
I'm trying out this buddy box feature. Do you want to take it up? And
sure.
I can
oh,
see
you got the buddy box? Yeah.
See if it works. Half throttle's going to be the ticket. I'll go ahead and get her up real quick. All right, you have half throttle, friend?
I have half throttle.
She's all yours.
I like that little thing. Look at that.
Great job.
Riding around.
Let me see if I can race that jet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, close.
You know what? You're second place. It's a solid second. That's all that matters.
Solid second. Yeah, I'm beating the DJI.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I don't know what I'm doing though. Okay, so
That's okay.
That's okay, none of us
don't
do.
give it to me yet.
All right, you tell me when. Give yourself about just under half throttle.
Okay, got that.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right, it's right there, and I'm gonna turn you. And I gotta apologize. It pulls a little bit one direction. I gotta fix that.
Okay, down is up, right?
Yep. Towards your belly is up.
Oh no, I have an itch on my head. Thank you.
No problem. Hey, you're flying it.
I am?
Yeah, you're flying. Here, just so people know.
Whoa. Oh, okay, you gotta help me.
You're fine.
When it starts to head that direction, you take over, okay?
You got it, love.
It was a really good time down
Yes.
there at Crafty Dan's field, and actually Josh Finn took the controls
We got
of
to
this
spend a lot
thing.
of quality time with Josh.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
He was a blast to hang out with, and then you got to do something really cool, and that was to fly with somebody pretty special.
She's very special to me. The woman I love, Jennifer, was on the trip with me, and she's been flying a little bit, and she loves the Storch. But we got to actually pass to the transmitter and do some wireless buddy boxing to the Graupner.
Yeah.
What I found out very quickly is I didn't need to worry about buddy boxing her too
Yeah,
much.
I think you were actually holding the radio over here,
I had
like
to
letting
prove it.
go of it.
I had to prove it to people that she was actually flying it, and she actually thought it was easier than the simulator.
Yeah.
Depth perception, when you're looking at a computer monitor, if you don't have a real big screen, it's very hard to see the plane, and she took to it very quickly.
Yeah,
and
she did well.
Nice thing about that was what she learned from the Storch immediately adapted to that, and she was flying the 3-channel version, and she couldn't tell that she wasn't flying with ailerons.
Yeah, it carries right over.
Our desire is no matter what skill level, no matter where you are in the hobby, that you can actually have a benefit and connect with somebody and have some fun and a good experience. And rather than having to build 3 separate airframes, which some people would like to do, we want to give people the experience to build one airframe and then step up like it's a comfortable friend.
Yeah.
So what we did is we have the simple wing and also the glider nose, and we made it so you can put some nose weight in there. And we got to go down and test this out with a wonderful school.
And I
Oh,
mean,
they're
there was
amazing.
what, 50, 60 kids in there?
60 kids. Matter
Yeah.
of fact, we built 15 chuck gliders in about an hour and 40 minutes.
We
Yeah.
all like kind of manned tables and hot glue guns and had all these stations set up. And I mean, we built these things in what, like an
Hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes.
And a big thanks to Steve Biddle for making that possible. He invited us into the school that he works at, and what amazing kids. We had 8 to 18, and they all worked together, and they've never touched this stuff before. And by the end of the day, they were throwing it across the gymnasium, and they flew
Yeah,
great.
it was awesome. In fact, one of the girls actually won.
Yeah.
Her airplane, it balanced out perfect, and man, she
All the
just,
way across the
just
floor.
chucked this thing across, and it literally hit the wall on the other side of the gym.
And one of the biggest desires we have is we want this to be able to go into schools, into community group centers, into churches, give people an opportunity to learn about flight, but also experience the benefits of community. And that's one of the great parts about this hobby is you can do this with others and have a lot of fun.
The Chuck Glider was the one
Yeah.
that we actually flew and built with the kids in the boarding school. So, you've got the Chuck Glider nose.
Yeah.
And then we've got a powered nose. Like, explain a little bit of that.
The way we laid this out, this is a powered nose, is by simply taking off the rubber bands, removing the barbecue skewers, the whole nose assembly slides off, and you can change it over. So
Okay.
say you're young and you want to build a plane, but you don't have the time or the resources for electronics. You can make this a glider, and you can see that something you build can actually fly very well. And we even tabbed in the elevator and the rudder to be able to lock into place so it didn't flop freely.
Sure.
And you just wouldn't do those steps there. And as you need to adjust it, you just simply bend the foam just a little bit and it holds its shape very nicely.
The reason that I ask actually is because I actually built just this one with the kids, and so
Yes.
I never have actually seen. When you handed me the powered one in Florida, that was the first
Like,
time I had
what's
seen
this?
the powered version.
Well,
So
and this is actually a different setup too. This is the typical wing that you'd build with a chuck glider.
Okay.
And it's very simple. We've actually improved it. What we took from our experience from the boarding school, we're able to take what we learned and say, wait a minute, this is too hard for the kids. There's some ways we can make it easier.
Yeah.
And the wing is much easier now, but what you're holding is actually set up for like slope soaring.
Sure.
So you have the aileron sport wing on there with just dihedral.
Yep.
And that way you can put some ballast in the nose, and then you can fly right off the slope.
Chuck it off a cliff.
Chuck it off a cliff, and you can fly RC. Obviously, you're learning 3-channel there, but it's
Yeah.
not using the throttle.
Sure.
The other thing we did is we also split the aileron control. So say you want to do flapper-on, reflex, things like that, you can actually do that by mixing in your radios. But as of right now, if you plug it into a simple Y harness, plug it into your aileron channel, you're good to go.
You've put a lot of thought into this.
The wings, the funniest thing, most of the work was into the tail to get the tail to behave properly. The wings came pretty darn quickly, but we wanted to have, if it was going to be a sport wing, we wanted more speed. And as you could tell flying the 3-channel, it had quite a punch, even on that little 1806 motor.
Yeah, and in fact, I was able to roll this thing upside down, and it would hold inverted even in that wind. I was doing barrel rolls with it. I mean, it was really a fun airplane to fly, so I was having a good time.
One of our biggest desires was to design something that would eliminate coupling. So when you're learning ailerons, you're learning the truest form of what a bank feels like. When you're learning rudder, you're learning what yaw feels like. When you learn an elevator, what pitch feels like. And that way, when you combine them, you can have a plane that you learn the truest forms of it, and you can get over the bank and yank skill. So when we talk about bank and yank, you understand exactly what we're talking about.
Sure.
And one thing we also wanted this to be is very robust. That's why we made a full box fuselage. That's why there's doublers up in the nose, even on the glider. And the kids were throwing it at that DAR school pretty intense.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
And all of them lived, which to me is a really good sign.
It's incredible, yeah.
So our desire is no matter what skill level, no matter where you are in the hobby, that you can actually have a benefit and connect with somebody and have some fun. And if you can enjoy building, that means fixing is not going to be as bad. Friends, I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for your input. A lot of people's input about the 3-packs is why we developed this. And this is our next generation. It is officially a Mighty Mini, which is nice. You're working with a lot smaller props, a lot smaller power plants, which makes it safe for schools and for different entities. And of course, as always, our free plans and our free build videos are going to be there. We really look forward to seeing what you do with this project, and hopefully you'll share your memories with us. See you next time.
See you next time.